Aloha once again. Welcome back to the 7th Direction. My name is David. We are headed in our 7th direction. That means straight into ourselves. That definition, the 7th direction, comes from Native American philosophy, shamanism, that has the 6 directions, north, south, east, west, up and down, that are all around us. And then that 7th direction straight into ourselves. As we're going in that direction, the single most important thing we can have is conviction. What does that mean? It means exactly what Kenny Loggins said in his epic song from now more than 20 years ago, Conviction of the Heart. You've heard it hundreds of times. You say you're aware, believing you care. Do you care enough? Where's your conviction of the heart? So, that is not an emotional condition. Conviction is about having concentrated focus on a direction that you are certain is right. It's about your center, not your emotions. Your emotions are just an aspect of you, but your center is what drives everything that happens in and around you. Everything that you create. So as you go in your 7th direction, you are not only engaging in the process of clearing your filters so that you can have better communication, but the actual act of doing so, the practice of building this bridge to something else, helps you convince yourself there is something else. And this is fantastically important. As I mentioned the other day, the mass telepathic creative thing that we're all doing, creating now moment on top of now moment on top of now moment, as we share in the amazing experience of this place, that constant renewal requires that we carry our practices with us at each moment of that renewal. As we've talked about before, what are those practices? To encapsulate 7 of them that we try to live our lives by. Not that we just pull fruit out of the atmosphere and say, yeah, these are great ideas. But to actually change our life practices so we live in accordance with these things. 1, to be pono, which means to be correct for everyone on all levels in every decision that we make. That can mean temporary self-sacrifice. That's okay. We all get through the process. When we have to make a sacrifice, we always manage to come out the other side. 2, don't make assumptions. Now again, we all make assumptions every day about how things are. Meaning, when we get in our car, we expect people will stay on their side of the road. When we're at a stop sign, we expect that people will stop. When those things don't happen, it causes big problems. Also, there are some basic assumptions like gravity and the operation of physics here that you wouldn't want to necessarily completely disbelieve in while you were driving your car. That could also have some interesting consequences here. So the point isn't that you never make assumptions. The point is that everyone makes assumptions. You have to be aware of the ones that you are making and make sure that you manage them. Make sure that you understand what they are and that you are meticulous in observing when you're using them, so that in case they are incorrect, you can immediately fix the problem. As the Dalai Lama said, when you make an error, correct it. John F. Kennedy said, a mistake only becomes an error if you fail to correct it. So everyone makes mistakes, everyone knows about mistakes, it happens all the time. The primary reason that you're cultivating your sense of awareness is so that you can recognize when you have made a mistake. The more quickly that you do so, the better off that you are. Very often, the first mistake you make is an incorrect assumption. 3, don't take things personally. What does that mean? That means we We understand that we're going to have bad experiences and that people will do things that we don't necessarily approve of and that we don't necessarily think are very nice. And we have to understand that most of the time that has to do with those people and their experience, not with us. That one of the great challenges of making sure that you get the most out of your experiences is to make sure that you don't overreact, that you don't create too much melodrama, that you don't take things too personally, too emotionally. This is why maturity in all of these processes is what is actually required to do the fourth thing, which is to do your best. So we have to understand this is not child's play, and we're not allowed to just say, oh, well, so-and-so said don't make assumptions, and so-and-so said this. So each part of the so-and-so said stuff that you hear has to be filtered through your maturity. You have to be able to look at that and understand sometimes too much is too much. For example, being pono in everything that you say and do is taken from the Toltec be impeccable in what you say and do. So it is possible to interpret be impeccable in what you say and do as never tell a lie. Suppose someone is wearing some clothing that makes them look not attractive. Does it actually serve their purpose to add to their negative self-esteem by pointing it out to them? Certainly by pointing it out to them in public, in a confrontational sort of a way. So it occurs to you that this person doesn't look good in what they're wearing. You say so? Is not saying so actually more pono in that particular case? You have to evaluate what's the bottom line going to be. Do you have an active suggestion to improve the situation? If someone has a stain on the back of their shirt, they can't see it, everyone else can see it. You are doing them a favor by saying you know you don't look quite as good as you think that you look. This is actually how you appear to others. But how you deliver that message and when you deliver that message, and that you add to that message, here's another shirt that you can put on, here's some soap that you can use to clean that. You don't want to simply criticize someone, observe that there's a problem, without some sort of solution. That is not pono. Even if what you are saying is true, and even if your observation is correct, you must do more work than that. You must provide an answer. That is doing your best. That is also making your decisions based in love, not in fear, which is guideline number 5, in that you are getting engaged, you're not afraid of the consequences, but you are being gentle and kind, and you are filtering whatever the creation is that you're about to put out, meaning your words, that you're being responsible with them, and that you understand their potential impact on someone else. You do that by keeping the big picture in mind, which is guideline 6, so that you can understand they're a human with the same sensitivities that you have, and they might not like a certain approach that you take. This is one of the most difficult aspects of getting involved with anyone on any level, even just telling them that they have a stain on their shirt, which is that if they don't want to hear what you are saying, they can blame the messenger. It's just a part of what you have to take on and understand that it's okay, they're not actually harming you. You look back to that 3rd guideline, don't take things personally, and you lean on your foundation guideline number 7, that you're a spiritual being having a human experience. You're not just a human being with some belief system having a spiritual experience. And that the truth of that does not change based on your mood. And that is the point of conviction. That is conviction and Pascal's wager all in one. That is having conviction about making the huge bet and betting everything on your Pascal's wager that you are more than you look like in the mirror every second of every day, and that never changes ever. These kinds of principles are the principles that you then bring back into your daily life as you are looking around you. You pull the power from the idea that you have worked it out in your head, that you can see yourself as a rainbow, you can get zillions of supporting documentation pieces and opinions that say that you are actually a being of light. You've taken that onto yourself. You understand that this is what you are. So what does that mean you're doing here exactly? And how do you improve the actual experience that you're having so you can be and feel more fulfilled in your life on every level? That every level, the ocean of you, what the Hawaiians call mahiki, the layers, what Shrek called the onion of you. That is what you are trying your very best to integrate on every possible level that you can. And that does mean bringing it back out into your life. That means remembering with conviction that you chose to come to this experience. That to pretend that you are more comfortable in one of your alternative perceptions, alternative realities, the shamanic spirit world, or the astral plane, or hanging out with the angels, or whatever the different layers and aspects are that you discover within yourself, you are not more comfortable in them than you are here. This place, this physical reality, is an experience you are having on purpose. You chose to come here. That is a fantastically important part of the responsibility that you have to take for yourself as a being. Your life has all of these complex interactive factors. One of the reasons that sometimes the secret doesn't work for you, or the law of attraction doesn't work for everyone the same way, these are lovely principles, but they are all subjected to what your soul actually wants. And if you are not in the right place to be creating something or receiving something from the universe, then whatever principle you practice isn't going to solve the problem. Until you address your own karmic issues, learn the proper thing from whatever it is that you are confronting, and that will enable you to move on. That will enable a new point of view. That will be cemented in yourself. Your soul will believe it on those higher levels. It will relax some of the constraints around what you're able to create, because you're finally learning the lessons that you are supposed to be learning, that it thinks you're supposed to be learning. And step by step by step, as you rediscover yourself in the 7th direction, you rediscover yourself outside, all of these things go together in a holistic, integrated way. That is why you are going in your 7th direction. That is what makes it worthwhile. And it is worthwhile, so keep going. It will get better. I hope you're having a good day. We'll talk again soon. Aloha.